Welcome back to my channel. I'd like to talk about another topic. Why we are losing good men in the world right now. What does it really mean? Well, there is a lot of men out there. There's a lot of men who are physically men, but do they really act and behave like men? I think this is where the problem lies. I think this is where the confusion in society has been going on. I believe that many, or possibly most men, don't understand what it means to be a man, but it requires them to do what they should be going after. So let's go a little bit deeper into the problem of this topic. We live in very polarized times where we see things coming up on the phones, on the internet, about all different directions. That we as humans, especially men, we should be doing, what we should be attracted to, what we should follow, how we should behave, and most of it is manipulated one way or another to make us believe that what they are showing is the right way or the only way. Why is it happening? Social media, internet preys on our emotional side, and that is the biggest weapon. That has been the biggest weapon ever since. But now, especially when we have the digital connection, instant digital connection with the whole world, it's been used in the most powerful way ever. All we need to do is just open the phone, go on the internet, and there are so many things showing us, telling us, bombarding us with ways how we should be. So what is a man supposed to do? It is difficult, because when you are born as a man physically, it doesn't mean that you are one. Yes, as physical aspect, you are a man. But what makes you a man is how you behave, what actions you take, who you really are. So that is the crisis in the world right now, where a lot of boys don't grow up to be men. And when they do grow up, they still behave like confused boys, choose wrong priorities, choose wrong direction. Why does it happen? Well, it goes back to many topics that I have touched on this channel. It starts with emotional side. We all have emotional side, and when that emotional side is not healthy, that's where the problems start. Let's go to the beginning of when men are boys, when they grow up, what environments they grow up in. Back in the days when you didn't have internet, when you didn't have social media, we mostly spent time outside when we were growing up. Boys would go out, ride bikes, play ball, tackle each other. They had to have physical contact with one another, and it was much healthier. They had opportunities to realize that in order for you to exist in this world, you have to toughen up. You have to work at it. You have to develop your presence. Now, the world has changed drastically. The internet and social media took over everything and has changed every aspect of our life. And also what has happened is the tough times that we used to live in have changed a lot. Now, a lot of people live in comfortable economic situations, and many are living where they don't have experienced anything related to poverty, anything related to hard upbringing, and they become oftentimes detached from reality. And also, what happens is when you open that phone, abnormal reality is thrown at you, showing wealth, the desire of becoming wealthy and a rich person, because when you do that, yeah, you are noticed this and that, which is totally the opposite what the man should be. So let's go back to the beginning. We have, let's say, a family and raising children. Let's say one of them is a boy. What happens a lot of times in society, children are raised in environments where parents try to provide too much of economical freedom to give the kids the best they can, because maybe their explanation is we didn't have that, so our children deserve that, which actually works totally opposite on their child's perception of what the normal upbringing should be. It is normal to experience hardship because it develops character. It is not normal to hand everything on a platter to the child, because the child becomes spoiled, doesn't develop the necessary mental tools to deal with the harshness of life. Life is not always positive, is not always going downhill. It's a struggle sometimes. There are rewards. But the beauty of it is that we have ability to develop strong mind, strong personality to withstand the hardships. And it's absolutely normal and absolutely healthy. But when we artificially make it easier on our children, they grow up to be weaker. They grow up to be dependent on the third hand, on the handouts. They do not develop strong personality or normal perception of what life is. So, going back to the topic, when we raise boys, I'm gonna focus on boys because this channel is mostly about men. Boys should be spending a lot of time doing physical activities. They should be interacting with other boys. But because we live in such busy times, what's happening is we start giving our children phones and electronics way too early. So, because we are busy as parents doing a lot of times unnecessary things, not being aware of it, so we try to make our life easier and introduce our boys into electronic side of reality. So they get those endless video games. They get the phones early. So instead of going outside, sweating, running, and maybe tackling one another to create a healthy man's personality early, they stay in or they go out, go to a corner and pull that stupid device and start pressing buttons. And this is the time where they should develop their man's personality. That is so important to start early. But yet, we deprive them from it by introducing them to that electronic pacifier that does nothing but takes the normal perception away and makes our children weaker because we are busy, right? So why start a family if you're so busy? Why? Another thing, when boys grow up, a lot of times fathers focus a lot of times on work, and many claim to be, so attached to sports. They follow sports. They bet on sports. They watch sports. But yet, when the boys are growing up, they don't go out with them. They don't play the ball. They don't let the boys fall. They don't let the boys experience physical part of the upbringing because they're busy. So what happens a lot of times, as I have experienced going to the games with my children and practicing, a lot of times mothers take over. And interesting things happen that take place early in development of boys. For example, let's say boys 6 to 10 age group go to sports, and mothers absolutely excited to see them on the field. But what happens is, since boys have been introduced to a lot of electronic anxiety, they do not often participate in the game. They lack motivation and personality strength to physically display their interest in the game. But what happens is, anytime they come up on the field and they come off, not really participating in the game, mothers reward them with clapping and just expressing their approval of their performance by saying, "Great job, fantastic job, beautiful job." Meanwhile, the kids didn't perform. Well, if you start acknowledging a lack of performance, lack of motivation out there, if a child hears that, that's a wrong confirmation and builds a negative perception what that boy should be doing in the open world. Well, how do we fight with this? How do we change this? Well, maybe explain to the boys that, yeah, it's great that we came to the field, but you need to participate. You need to swing that bat. You can't just stand there frozen. This is the point of you being here. You chase that ball. You kick that ball. It doesn't matter if you score. You go after. If you don't do that, I don't give the praises, because it's false perception in the child's mind that no matter what, I should be rewarded. I should receive a praise no matter what I do. So why should I even try? Why should I give my best and keep on improving? Because the reward is there. And what happens is men often are absent from those games and they don't step in. Or if they do show up, the mothers take over cheering up, and the men allow mothers to give that false gratification to the child. Fathers, why don't you take your kids to the practice? Why don't you show them how to swing, kick, throw? This is how you develop a man's personality early. Not you watching stupid games endlessly, betting on them and eating chips. You go out there in the field and you tackle with your kids, with your son. You throw that ball. You sweat with him. And if the mother keeps giving that false gratification to the child, cut it out. That's a wrong way to start. Get that phone and video game out of your child's room. Do not allow them to spend endless hours on it. Because that person will not have a chance to develop man's personality, healthy personality. going forward, those boys going to high school, and the showing of competition starts, where there's always those who have, because their parents, not knowing how to be the healthy parent, spoil them with expensive items. So there's this comparison game that starts. And this is a critical moment, because this is the time where our boys become hooked on that road to wealth, thinking that financial approach is solution to everything. That gives a man sense of direction of everything. That this is the strength of the man, which is absolutely bullshit. So, what do we do? Well, maybe parents who care about their kids' healthy mind should not spoil boys with those items. Maybe they should think about how much time they spend with them, instead of rewarding them for lack of time that they spend together with unnecessary gifts that totally change their perspective of what their life should be about. This is sad things happening in our society that set very wrong foundation in many young men, who then become independent by law, but in their minds they are still boys. They are still undeveloped. They are confused. First of all, what is it? What does it take to be a man these days? I mean, these days or any time. I think it takes a lot of courage to stand for the truth. That's the number one thing. Stand for the truth. Now that the truth is banned so much out there, I think it's absolutely critical to educate yourself to understand whether you are behind the truth or manipulation. If you are following some corrupted direction, so go to independent studies. Educate yourself. If your morality or emotional sides are undeveloped, confused, or broken, that is especially important, because your mind may be telling you things that have been totally wrong off the tracks that you grew up with. Maybe you are bringing your family, put you in a direction where you see abnormal things as your right way of going. Do you believe that being a man means hating other people? If they haven't done anything to you, they haven't come to your house, they haven't been in contact with you, that's not healthy. That's broken mentality and confused emotional side. A real man doesn't bring harm to anyone unless it's in a self or family protection. Yeah, that's the times when you rise up to protect physically or emotionally. But when you cause harm to others for no reason, just because someone keeps throwing that garbage information at you, and you keep swallowing it because your mind doesn't know the difference, that's wrong. Being a good man takes work, requires a lot of work. You have to work on yourself emotionally and physically. And most boys never grow up to do that, because they spent most of their childhood looking at screens or watching their parents give a wrong example. So if you're a child that grew up in a household where your father was not present giving proper example, you're going to have issues showing that proper direction as a man, because you will not understand it. You've seen too much of the wrong. Your father was always absent, or when he was there, he was not interested, or he was confused and passing some hateful and toxic information to you. You might have tried to cuddle up with extra hard that just did more harm because it didn't allow your personality to deal with normal part of life, which is the harshness of life. So what do we do? The only way to in this society to become a healthy man is, number one, to detach from social media, all social media. Detach from conspiracy theories, all those rabbit holes that keep piling garbage, toxic information that you don't need because someone wants you to think a certain way because they profit from it. They profit at the end. But you and society suffer. Someone is taking advantage of your emotional, mental confusion caused by upbringing or unhealthy lifestyle that you've been exposed and then chose to follow. Get off the phones, get off the internet. Start living healthy, start exercising. If you have friends who are confused and pass that toxic information, cut them out. You don't need them. You need people that motivate you in a healthy way, that still stimulate your mind to challenge you to be a better man. Look at yourself in the mirror. Question your actions, your behavior. Can you do that? That takes man's guts. Most men can't, because they don't have guts. They choose corrupted men as their leaders in life to set the course for them, because they have not developed personality strong to see the direction. So they need another one. Well, if they chose someone who actually gives positive direction, good direction, but mostly they choose someone who manipulates them into stupidity, confusion, hate. So this is absolutely critical for young boys to grow up in a house where parents actively participate in bringing them in a normal way, not spoiling them, getting them off electronic devices, allowing them to play, allowing them to face challenges, to deal with them. That develops good personality. And when you become a man by law, continue working on yourself so you are actually becoming a real man in the full sense, not just by having that driver's license that allows you to go to a bar and have a drink. Maybe the bar is actually wrong direction. It is. But make sure that your actions every day are in the direction that is positive for yourself, for your family, for the society. Because we are all interconnected. If you make it all about yourself, all about getting it easier and wealthier every day, that's not going to end well. That confusion is going to come to a dead-end wall. And when it crumbles, you're going to go down really fast. We live in the times where most society is weakened and confused and pushed into a manipulated direction. We need real men to stand up to it, stand up to block the stupidity out there, to show the proper direction, to stand up for the truth, to show example when you get off the phone, not allow yourself to be driven into any conspiracy rabbit holes. You go out there, you sweat, you work out, you eat healthy, you show proper example to your children. You show up to those games. You throw the ball to your son. You wrestle with him. That extra money you've been going after is actually working against you. A family needs a man with balls that shows that he's a man who knows the proper direction of life, not someone who doesn't have time to be present, someone who easily gets manipulated, someone who becomes manipulated by others just because he's not a man anymore. He doesn't know the difference between right and wrong. So he needs someone to point the direction, and usually the direction is wrong. We need men because women are complaining, and they are right. They are absolutely right. And being a man is not putting a bunch of ink on you and getting those bigger tires faster car. It's about your mind, first of all. What you stand for, how you understand, how you listen, how you respond, how you see your actions. This is who you are, not a internet social media display with selfies. A guy pushing 50 pounds bench press can be much bigger man than another guy benching 500 who is totally confused, following stupidity, toxic direction. Because that other guy barely lifting 50 may have a very clear mind, knows what he's standing for, he knows and educated himself that he is following the right direction. He's rejecting stupidity, toxicity, and hate, and he's showing proper example to the kids. May not be that physical, but his actions are honorable. Honorable every single day. So be a man by your actions. Of course, other things are important too, but mostly who you are, how you behave. Are you accountable for your own actions? Can you see clearly the goodness in your direction? Can you see the difference between right and wrong? Not because someone pointed for you, just because you educated yourself to see the difference. If not, throw away the phone, get off the internet forever, and start working on yourself. We need men, real men, not pushers, not followers. Thank you.